I'm Lauren Archer, and I'm here today with Bettina, Carey, and Janaki Severy. And we are the co-hosts of the Awaken in Her Power Hour podcast and show, which is coming up. Today, we're doing a planning meeting, and we decided to pop in and go live and share with you a little bit about what we're up to and why we think you will want to be involved. You know, women are waking up to their power all over the world. There's a shift happening, and it's so timely. Systems as we know it are breaking down, and new systems are coming up. And we as women play a pivotal role in the awakening of consciousness and of our power and authority to make change in the world. So with that, I'd like to introduce Bettina Carey first to tell us a little bit about the Awaken in Her Power Hour show that we're launching, and then Janaki to tell us a little bit about the vision and the background and how we're pulling all this together.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Janaki, for being my soul sisters and friends for a long time now. This has been a journey that we started back in 2017 that we are going to be pursuing with the Severy this year in 2021. It's all about the spiritual awakening that is moving on the planet here. And together we are going to be talking about subjects that will help you to awaken the power within. As women, we carry a lot of different burdens in our life. We have certain understandings. Our culture, puts us in sometimes disempowering circumstances, but we're going to awaken the power within. We're going to teach you modalities and techniques, and we have a whole bag of tricks that we all use. And after talking with one another over the years and sharing our experiences, we have come to a place where we feel it's time to share that with the world. So thank you, Lauren, for announcing us here. This is a big kickoff moment for us. It's a planning meeting, yes, but we're including you on Facebook Live here so that you can be a part of our little world. Janaki, take it away.
You know, it's interesting. I'm just looking at us, and we're each a decade apart. I hold the senior rung, and I think there's also something really wonderful about that. We're all moms. We've all had various careers. We have different educations. We have different backgrounds, and so when we think about awakening power, every human has power. What's interesting historically is that women, for all the reasons we may already know, were first honored because they bore children, but also were property. They were no different than having a good cattle herd. You got a good woman who can bear some children. We protect her, we own her, and we tell her what to do. And back years and years and years ago, we did what we were told because they took care of us, right? And so over the years, I'm just doing some historic research about women. Right around World War II, women were able to step in for the men, right? Because they were out fighting for our country, and it was a very proud thing. And we had Rosie the Riveter, and then all of a sudden the men came home and the women went, I'm kind of liking this. And so there began the journey of, well, what do we do with Leave It to Beaver? And, all these stories where the moms were home and wearing beautiful dresses and cooking dinners and singing happy songs, to women who were authentic and sharing their joys and their vision and their passion, and really feeling there was something inside them that was additional to what was being accessed and really valued as a mother and a wife. So this power that we have is a great deal accessed from our real lives, our present lives, but it's also something deeper. And Bettina mentioned spiritual. And so for lack of a better term, because there are so many, there is an essence in us that is deep and eternal and tremendously gifted. And it gives us another way to see the world, to be in the world, and to partner and to take a place. So one of the goals we're going to have is exploring all those ways through our lives, through your lives, through guests' lives, and find out what is all that power and how do we awaken it intentionally. And I think, we can talk about those moments when we felt powerful. And there were times when we went like, what just happened? How did I do that? Like, it was so awesome. And then it's gone. like soup you make and you can't figure out what the recipe was because you threw it together. We're going to take you out of incidentally accessing your power to intentionally accessing it all the time. Lauren?
And part of the idea of awakening too is to recognize the places where we've been asleep, right? And many of us have been raised with, many with powerful mothers that are great role models, but many with mothers that were in the trance of what was expected. I know myself, gosh, there's so many trances that I have fallen under. The trance of, having to look a certain way or having to behave a certain way in order to be accepted. And those were, that limited my power, that limited my ability to be authentic. So learning how to recognize the illusions and the trances and to awaken from that so that you can fully step up, because the world right now needs us. The world needs feminine leadership. We need collaboration, cooperation, harmony, figuring out how to get along, taking care of each other. These are feminine values that have gotten pushed a bit by the wayside in all of our endeavors, I guess, mostly Western society. We focus so much on the masculine way of doing things, on measuring things externally and objectively, and how does it all look on the outside? Whereas the feminine is what's happening inside, what's the emotional state, and when we say spirit, we're not necessarily talking about religion here. The notion of spirit and spirituality is whatever it is for you, but it's what do you decide is meaningful and important and valuable? Because without that, life is flat. So we're here to help every one of you, women and bold men, just look at that feminine side of leadership, the feminine side of awakening, and how we as women, especially women of a certain age, when Janaki mentioned the different generations, I'm still in my 50s for one more year, and Bettina is in the early part of the decade of the 60s. And Janaki's in the early part of the decade of the 70s. But with that volume of experience, that depth of experience, we resonate with a lot of women. I know a lot of the women in my circles are feeling like, gosh, there's something I want to do. I want to contribute. I want to make a difference in the world. How can we do that? And one of the ways we do that is by learning from each other and working together in groups and in collaboration. And Bettina, I know you've got a lot to share about working together and empowering people in groups.
Yes, and what I'm loving is that we're going to be putting this on television, right? So we're going to be going over to the over-the-top television place, which is called the Worldwide Television Network, the WWTVN, and spotlighting not only the topics that we're going to be focusing on, but also inviting guests to be speakers with us, and we'll interview you and discover what tools and modalities that you might bring to the table, experiences that you might want to share. I know for myself, I practice a lot around the power of presence and staying in the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle coined it. And you obviously, Lauren, as an expert in hypnotherapy, you have a lot around the closed eye modality, which people can use to break, lifestyle habits that they want to break or lose weight or any number of things. Janaki, you're just full of it in a good way. You have so much to offer. And together we're going to be producing this show that we hope will enliven and enrich the lives of women around the globe and those men who we feel are bold enough to step into this conversation around awakening the power within. Because without the awakened power, you can lose in opportunities. You can trudge around for 20 or 30 years in a bad relationship. You can have excess weight that is really just an example of baggage that you're carrying on the inside, or stories that have to be revealed and processed that are not processed yet. So there's a lot that we are going to be uncovering and unearthing. And I'm going to turn it to Janaki, because she had a program years ago called Fly With Your Spirit, which was the essence of what I wanted to originally bring to this group. But of course, it's evolved a little bit from there. what are the 4 buckets that we're going to be concentrating on, Janaki?
I'm going to talk about the buckets, but I'm also going to talk about something that happens when we get together, because it just happened to me. Lauren, you talked about women and the men. And I went to a time when my parents had gotten a divorce. My mom was very hurt. And I was talking to her about my thoughts. And she looked at me and she said, "You're just like your father." And I have carried shame about that until just now. Because now I know what she was saying. You're bold, you say what you think, you discourage and upset me because it's not what I think. And so at the time, it was a harmful comment to separate my sense of my dad being good because being like him, because she was disappointed, was not good. But in this very present moment, I heard it. I am a lot like my father. He was very authentic and very smart, and he had really interesting ideas. And so in this exact moment, I just got a whole reframe. So
that's an awakening. I love it.
Awakening. Right now, I just went, because I had shame about it. Like, I'm bad like my dad, right?
Yeah.
But actually, it was a compliment in a different way that I just heard 47 years later, right now, real time.
Wow.
So that's actually what Fly with Your Spirit is about. It's about, there's four attributes that help us grow. In some ways, it doesn't matter in what order they come, but for our purposes, we've kind of liked presence as first, energy, intention, and commitment. And presence is being in the now, quick enough to see what, in my case, just happened, to recognize a moment that's really sweet in the middle of some chaos, to not be going so fast in a trance you miss some insight that you had a glimmer of and you ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at energy, it takes energy to be present. It's easier to just check out, to veg out. And I do watch Netflix, so no bashing on that, but the energy it takes to be in your body, to be in real time, is an opportunity. And if you're present and you've got some energy, well, what are your intentions? What are you going to do with it? When you wake up, I mean, I'm going to use that thing, that moment I just got, that's going to reverberate all day long. I have no idea where that's going to go, that I was just like my dad in a good way. So intention is where you decide what you want to do with it. And one of the ways you can determine if your intention worked is to see what happened. If you have an intention and it doesn't happen, it's neither good nor bad, but you're then present to say, what blocked that? What thoughts was I holding that maybe were hidden but stronger than my intention? And then finally, you have commitment. How do you make a commitment? And we were just talking just now. We've been doing this since 1973. I mean, excuse me, 2017. that was a go back in time, 2017. And we thought we should launch. Like, we've been podcasting and doing all these things quietly, not formally. So you are witnessing the birth of our intention. So presence, energy, intention, commitment.
And I would add the accountability. Accountability is my little hot button right now. So by inviting us to come on Facebook Live right now while we were having a planning meeting means that we're now really going to be doing this in a public way. And so I'm so grateful that the two of you were willing participants in my inspiration and motivation to light the fire under us and get us out of the planning phase and into the action phase, so that we are literally using these 4 buckets just to get here today.
So we want you to understand that we were having a private meeting that was not going live, that we had no intention of making this public. And Bettina, her little monkey self, went, okay, I think we should just do it right now. We all scrambled, got a little bit of something going on around our face, possibly, and came back and bam, here we are. Thank you, Bettina.
You're welcome. And that's what's possible when you get together with the right people at the right time, producing the right results, right? So we hope that you will be able to join us for the Awaken in Her Power Hour production moments like this, as well as the actual show that will live on the WWTVN. That's for the Worldwide Television Network.
Right.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody.
Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay awake.
Stay awake, because we are. Bye.